Welcome to this explainer. If you're tuning in today, you're clearly a focused learner, and you are likely ready to tackle one of the most exhausting, invisible hurdles of the entire human experience. We aren't going to start with a traditional agenda today, folks. Instead, we're stepping straight into the shadows of our own psychology to confront a mechanism that literally steals our peace and sabotages our potential. It is time to finally start overcoming the overthinking trap.
Picture this scenario. It's 2 a.m. The world around you is perfectly quiet. Your body is heavy, practically begging you for sleep. But your brain is running a frantic, relentless marathon. It's replaying a slightly awkward conversation you had 3 years ago. It's panicking about some vague, undefined deadline next week. It's trying to predict the outcome of events that haven't even happened yet. Why won't your mind just stop? There is this visceral, bone-deep exhaustion that sets in when your own thoughts absolutely refuse to shut down. It feels like being held hostage by your own intellect, right? You're trapped in a vehicle with the accelerator pressed all the way to the floor and absolutely no brakes in sight. So, let's get into Section 1, the trap of overthinking.
Okay, let's dive into this and really decode this paralyzing mental state. What exactly is overthinking? Basically, it's the relentless repetition of unproductive thoughts. And the absolutely most vital part of that definition is the second half. It is entirely distinct from active problem solving. Active problem solving is a fantastic tool. It actually moves you forward. Problem solving sounds like, hey, my car is making a weird noise. I'm going to call the mechanic tomorrow at 9 a.m. Overthinking, on the other hand, is a total trap. It sounds more like, what if the car engine explodes on the highway and I lose my job because I'm late and then I go bankrupt? See the difference? Overthinking gives you this sneaky illusion that you're doing important mental work, while in reality, it's keeping you completely stuck in the exact same place, burning tons of fuel without moving an inch.
Moving right along to Section 2, your brain on repeat.
To truly conquer this trap, we've got to look under the hood at the physical mechanics of your mind. We need to uncover why these thoughts get caught in such an endless, agonizing loop. In neuroscience, there's a really famous saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. Every single time a thought passes through your mind, a neural pathway fires. So when you obsess over a worry, those exact same pathways fire repeatedly, and over time, they grow thicker and stronger. It's kind of like a well-worn groove in a vinyl record. Now here's the crazy part. Because of all this high activity, your brain actually mistakes this repetition for progress. It registers all that mental effort and thinks, wow, I am focusing so hard on this threat, I must be keeping us safe. But you aren't solving anything. Eventually, these thought cycles just become deeply ingrained automatic habits. If you've ever felt like you simply cannot control your racing mind, I want you to feel totally validated right now. This is a mechanical neurological issue of deeply wired pathways. It is absolutely not a flaw in your character.
And this brilliantly illustrates the crucial difference between logic and anxiety. Logical thinking is a linear process, right? It moves you from step A to step B toward a concrete, actual solution. Anxious overthinking, however, is basically toxic fuel that hijacks your normal, healthy cognitive processes. Instead of moving you forward, anxiety causes your brain to spin endlessly into these wild worst-case scenarios. It literally turns a straight path into a dizzying vortex. Instead of finding a way out of a problem, anxiety just builds a taller, thicker wall, making those repeating thoughts infinitely stronger and way more terrifying with every single revolution.
Which brings us to Section 3, the smart person's burden.
Now, you might assume that being a highly logical, rational person would protect you from this cognitive trap, right? Well, there is a pretty cruel paradox at play here. Highly intelligent brains actually possess this sheer processing power to generate exponentially more what-if scenarios. Your intellect allows you to see every possible angle, every potential risk, and every subtle nuance of any given situation. In normal circumstances, hey, that's a superpower. But when you combine that massive cognitive capacity with a sudden spike of anxiety, your intelligence suddenly becomes a huge vulnerability. Because you're smart, you aren't just having a vague, blurry worry. No, you're building a highly detailed, incredibly complex 4K resolution simulation of exactly how everything could go catastrophically wrong. It is truly the smart person's burden, using your own brilliant mind to accidentally torture yourself.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds. Psychological evidence and signs.
Let's ground this whole concept in clinical reality for a second. Psychological studies clearly indicate that rumination and overthinking are strongly correlated with elevated stress and delayed action. So let's unpack that. When we ruminate, we aren't just stressing out our minds. Our physical bodies actively respond. The brain triggers the release of cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, and that keeps us in a perpetual, totally exhausting state of fight or flight. And behaviorally, well, it causes absolute paralysis. We often call it analysis paralysis. By overanalyzing every single tiny variable just to avoid making a mistake, you end up delaying taking any action at all. The very mechanism you're using to try and perfect a decision is exactly the thing preventing you from making it.
So, how exactly does this manifest in our daily lives? Ask yourself if you recognize any of these patterns. Are you second-guessing really simple decisions, like agonizing over what to eat for lunch or intensely drafting a basic two-sentence email for an hour? Are you constantly replaying past conversations in your head, desperately searching for some slight change in someone's tone that proves they're mad at you? Or maybe you're catastrophizing the future, jumping from a minor typo at work to total financial ruin in 5 seconds flat. All of this inevitably leads to a complete inability to just relax or fall asleep, leaving you with a profound, constant mental exhaustion. If you're nodding along to these points right now, you know intimately just how heavy this daily burden truly is.
All right, Section 5, 3 steps to break free.
So the crucial point is, we've identified the trap and the neurology, but we are definitely not just going to sit here and admire the problem. Because your brain learned this habit, you absolutely can rewire it. And you can do that with these 3 highly practical steps. Step 1, interrupt the loop. When you catch yourself spinning out, I want you to say the word stop out loud. Literally disrupt the neural pathway by introducing a sudden vocal command. It actually breaks the trance. Step 2, schedule worry time. Give yourself 15 minutes a day, let's say at 4 p.m., dedicated solely to worrying. Get a notebook and write it all down. Then when a panic-inducing thought pops up at 10 a.m., you just tell your brain, hey, I hear you, but we're going to handle this at 4 p.m. It compartmentalizes the anxiety so it doesn't ruin your entire day. And finally, step 3, shift to immediate physical action. Remember, overthinking happens purely in the abstract mind. You have to force yourself into the physical present. Do 10 jumping jacks, go wash the dishes, run your hands under freezing cold water. Grounding your physical body abruptly short-circuits that runaway mental engine.
The core, undeniable truth of neuroplasticity is this: you are not your intrusive thoughts, and you absolutely have the power to rewire your mental pathways. Just as you inadvertently built this deep habit of overthinking over years of stress, you can intentionally build the habit of mental peace. Yes, it takes conscious practice, and it certainly takes some time. But that quiet, calm mind you're craving, it's absolutely within your reach. If you found this explainer helpful in mapping out the mechanics of your mind today, please make sure to hit subscribe so we can keep untangling these fascinating and complex topics together. I want to leave you today with a direct challenge. Out of everything we covered, which of these 3 techniques will you actually use to quiet your mind tonight? Are you going to speak up and interrupt the loop? Will you schedule your worry time for tomorrow afternoon? Or will you force yourself into immediate physical action the second the anxiety starts creeping in? Don't just think about this passively, guys. Choose one right now, commit to it, and start taking your mind back tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.